in East Copperbelt Province brings to you The Lens, a program designed to bring insightful information on economics, mining, education, health, tourism, agriculture, environmental issues, sports, entertainment, current affairs, and many issues affecting the well-being of society. Welcome, viewers. And on your lens today, we are discussing football, and I am your host, Tovin Ngombe. On my panel today, I have my soccer analyst. I have Melvin Melek. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tovin, and it's good to be back on The Lens.
Okay, and I also have Musonda Chilambwe. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Tovin, and it's nice to be on the show.
And my third analyst, I have Peter Chanda. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tovin. Pleasure being here.
Well, viewers, today we'll be looking at the CAF team, specifically our own team, Red Arrows, who played TP Mazembe away in Congo DR Rumbashi. And also we shall look at the local Premier League games played over the weekend, and also the English Premier League games. And we shall also touch on the under-20 who are now in Maputo participating in the Kwasafa Cup. And to begin with, I'll start with Melek. How do you look at the TP Mazembe versus Red Arrows game which was played, and TP Mazembe went down 2-0 again away in Rumbashi?
Thank you so much, Tovin. Just like we said here on The Lens, on the last show, I think we did emphasize that it would be a mountain to climb for Red Arrows. And for sure, it came out that they went down 2-1 to TP Mazembe. It was expected because playing in Lubumbashi, Congo, you see that they always have the 12th man with the spectators, and they did right behind the team. So it was very difficult for Red Arrows, more especially that they went down by 2-0 at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. So for Red Arrows to overturn the results, I think it was expected, and we really predicted that TP Mazembe would be so good for Red Arrows. So I think Red Arrows, yes, they are out. It is high time now they concentrate on the local league.
Vamuzo, you also predicted that Red Arrows will get a 4-0 bashing. At least it was a 2-1. How do you look at the game which they played?
Yeah, I would say, even though they lost, I'm sure they have put up a spirited fight despite losing 2-1, which I never expected them to go down by a goal margin. I expected a bashing, like I had said last time here on this show. So, like I had said, Chisimbewe just had to come up with something for them to come out with a good result in Lubumbashi. So, for Chisimbewe, I would say, job well done. You were not embarrassed in Lubumbashi. You put up a spirited fight, which is needed. Good luck next time.
All right. Vapita. We lost 2-0, and we away again. We lost 2-1. How do you look at that game?
Tovin, when you look at a game that was played at Levi, everything was left right at Levi. And when you look at TP Mazembe, they did a good job. A spirited fight they put, and recording a 2-0 win away. I remember I watched that game with Melek, and after that we had the main discussion talking about football. What I can say really is not just about Red Arrows. Look at what happened to Zesco. What has really gone down are standards of football in Zambia in general. Because you look at last time out, we had Power Dynamos and Moza representing Zambia in the top club football in the continent, and what happened was the same, maybe not the worst. So it's really what we need to do, and it was very discouraging to see how they conceded the 2 goals and how they lost. TP Mazembe knew what they were doing when they were playing at Levi, and they looked like the home side, and yet they were the away side. even the fans, when you look at the fans, when they are, you are supporting a team and you're positive about them, you really enjoy what they're doing and look forward to what they're doing. And when TP Mazembe came to play Red Arrows at Levy, they meant business and they did that. So going home, definitely, it was an uphill battle for Red Arrows to overturn that, and I never had hope to say they would do that. And like I said, it's high time we sat as a country together, football administrators sitting, trying to see what happens, the corporate world coming on board, football administrators as well as the coaches, trying to revitalize the levels that have really gone in or are in a deplorable state if we are to compete. Look at our friends in Tanzania. The flair of football is speaking for them, for itself. You see players coming from the Zambian league trekking to other leagues, and the quality of players we sign and bring on to the league should really matter. So that's really what I feel should happen and needs to be done if we are to be actually up there and compete with other clubs. But looking at how it is, standards of football have gone down and they really need to improve drastically.
All right, Merrick, this year has been actually the worst in terms of the Zambia League games, especially when it comes to presenting our country on the continental stage. Even last year, it was the same thing. At least last year, when Namuza and the other teams actually managed even to go past the stage. But this time we have even failed to go a stage where we start even competing. What is wrong with the Zambian league? Is it the administrators? Is it the players? Or is it the selection of players for these clubs? What could be the problem?
Thank you, Tovin. I think we have discussed so many times, Tovin, on this show. It all goes back to the sponsorship. I think, like we said in the previous show, I think the Zambian teams, the Zambian clubs are lacking a lot of sponsorship. And many teams, if you even look at the Zesco United, the one that made Zambia even to 4 slots, I think that time, Zesco United had what it takes. They had a lot of players. They had invested in the team. We talk of the players that have even left the club. Talk of Jesse Jackson Were, Otieno. All those were players that were to reckon with at the club during that time. And Zesco managed even to reach to the group stage and through to the semi-finals. But now, because of lack of sponsorship, we are seeing clubs failing even to go past the second round. Like Red Arrows failed, the Zesco United in the Confederation Cup also failed to go past. So it tells you that indeed Zambian clubs, they need a lot of sponsorship in order for them to go through the group stage. It has been long since we saw Zambian clubs, participating, passing, reaching the group stage, and it all lies in sponsorship.
Indeed. Vamuzo, what could be the problem and what could be the solution to address the situation?
Just like Peter had put it when he said that there's no investment in the Zambian football sector. I think the government should come up with a policy whereby all the investors, when they want to invest in this country, there should be a policy or an act in our constitution whereby companies should be involved in sport. I remember when ZCCM was at its peak, teams were doing well on the Copper Belt. Concordia Braves, they had big names. Fira Wanderers, they had big names. Nchanga Rangers, they had big names. Power Dynamos, Roni, you mentioned the Munkana, they had all those big names. When you go to Zambia Railways, they had Cabo Warriors, they had big names. When you come to Ndola, there was Vitaform, Strike Rovers. All those teams, it was because of proper investment in sport. Nowadays, people just come in, invest, get their money back, they go home. So it's up to the government to come up with a deliberate policy whereby football should start flourishing. We go back to the heydays when we used to look forward to the fans used to look forward for Saturdays and Sundays to go to the stadium to go and see what is happening on the pitch.
All right. Peter, what could be done to save the situation? Because actually people have been talking of going back to the drawing board, but how many times are we going to the drawing board? Do people even go to the drawing board anyway?
Tovin,
or these clubs?
Tovin, thank you so much. When you look at our football standards, we are not just looking at the clubs. We are also looking at the national team, because those players we have in the national team are drawn from the same clubs. So what needs to save the situation is we really need to be intentional about it. Melek and Muzo have just highlighted going back, the corporate world coming on board. And this shouldn't be waiting for them to go as corporate social responsibility at their will. It should be enshrined in the constitution, where we say you want to invest in Zambia. As you come to invest, as you make your money, you also need to give a certain percentage towards sport. We have many companies or institutions that are making money without paying, or they are paying a blind eye towards sport. I'll give an example. There was a certain institution that was dealing with televising Zambian football. They started slowly cutting out certain spaces, of course, in that we didn't have the part for analysis. We just go direct into the game. And halftime, we do not have such. And next thing we saw, the camera quality is not that good. So those are things we need to address. We need to be intentional as leaders. And then, don't we have other people that can compete with those? Or don't we have people that can approach those people in the corporate world to say, hey, would you want to do business with us? There should be people competing, queuing up to, taking part or investing in Zambian football, as well as sponsorship. There should be other people sponsoring. We have headline sponsors, but there should be other people queuing up because the product has been branded and it's there and it's appealing. But if we are not intentional and we just let it benefit a few individuals, as well as overlooking or paying a blind eye to it like everything's all right, we are yet to see the worst. So what needs to be done is be intentional about it. The corporate world coming together with the government through the departments or ministries that directly deals with sports. We are not just talking about football here. Look at what happens at the Olympics. We had one of the smallest numbers of Olympiads, or the team that went to participate in the Paris 2024 Olympics. What does it tell? We do not have enough money. We do not have a lot of money to cater for logistics and to send those teams. Look into the schools. We used to have those junior tournaments like Coca-Cola tournaments where we used to draw players. Airtel Star Search, where are they now? What happens? The leaders need to regroup, they need to be intentional and court those existing institutional organizations and those that might be to say, if you are to be in Zambia and make your money, you also need to intentionally be part and parcel of this. So that way, it will save the situation as it is, not only about Zambian football, but also the sports that are surrounding or that are taking place. And that way, we will go back to the days when we'll be recognized as a sporting country.
All right. Well, viewers, if you are joining us, you are watching The Lens. And on The Lens today, we are discussing football. And I have my panel to discuss this program. I have Melvin Melek, and also I have Osonda Chilambwe and Peter Chanda. We are discussing football. And gentlemen, let's look at on the local scene again, the Premier League games that were played over the weekend. And we had teams like... all right, let's look at the local scene, the games that were played over the weekend. We had Nkana drawing 0-0 against Nkwazi, and also we had Forest Rangers and Muza drawing 2-2. We had Green Buffaloes 0, Atletico Lusaka 0. We had Zanaco 1, Power Dynamos 1. We had Green Eagles 1. Napsa Stars 1, we had Inden Football Club 0, Kawa Warriors 1, we had Mfura Wanderers 0, Mtondo Stars 2. We had Nchanga Rangers 1 and Zesco United 2. Gentlemen, those were the games that were played over the weekend. Let's look at the game against Muza and Forest Rangers. How do you look at that game, Musonda?
You know, Muza, it has always been a tricky team since inception. Let me not say inception, since they came into the league about 2-3 seasons ago. They have been a tricky team. Now, that flair which they had for the past 2-3 seasons, it's not there. It's slowly dwindling, going down bit by bit. This is what we've been talking about, proper investment. The team it's a one-man show team, one-man show organization. Is a human being, he can tie up, his resources can restrict him. So we need proper investment in football. For Muza, I would still put them up there. If you underrate them, then you pay through your nose. Muza, they are still a good team for me.
Peter, look at the game against Nchanga Rangers and Zesco United. Can call it the local derby within the same province on Kopara here. How do you look at the performance of Zesco despite performing poorly in the CAF competition cup?
I would say it's a commentator's case when you look at the Nchanga Rangers Zesco game. I think after bowing out of the Confederation Cup, it was a blessing in disguise because we saw heads rolling, we saw coaches being fired and having an interim coach. And like it always works, in most cases, an interim coach works well until a certain point or a certain season, the results start again swelling and going down. But the interim coach has done well thus far. Of course, from the previous games, they had won 100% before drawing against Nkwazi at home. And then they had to bounce back when they played Nchanga Rangers away. Of course, they had to make sure they bounced back, they got their winning ways. And despite them drawing against Nkwazi, they were still leading. So they needed to consolidate the leadership of the league up there. And we saw one of the new guys, Amin Haif, of course, scoring a brace. And of course, ensuring that the power utility sponsored side carried maximum 3 points back home. So that was a game. And for Nchanga Rangers, they're still on a rise. They are not yet stabilized. I wouldn't call them among the top dogs. Again, I wouldn't call them among the whipping boys. So they are there. Looking at a good season they had last season and some good campaign they had in the ABSA. So they are there, and it's also encouraging for management and the coach to say they are now there, they are locking horns with the big boys. It was a good game. It was a game that was, of course, beamed on the screens, and we had the chance to see. For those that had the chance to watch, it was a good game.
All right. Merek, let's look at Mufulira Wanderers versus Mtondo Stars. Might losing 2-0 to Mtondo Stars. How do you look at that game?
Yes, Tovin, very disappointing encounter. Mighty Mufulira Wanderers losing at Shinde Stadium. It wasn't, expected that they may lose to Mtondo Stars because I think soccer fans did trek to the iconic Shinde Stadium. I was personally expectant that Mufulira Wanderers would carry the day, but then looking at the way the Mighty Mufulira Wanderers did pan out, more especially in the first half, we saw Coach Charles Kafula substituting 3 players, barely 20 minutes in the game. That showed you that I think he had no tactics. No wonder soccer fans, they want Coach Kafula to be relieved of his duties, and they may want another coach to take over Mufulira Wanderers. To them, soccer fans, they are saying that maybe, probably, the team is just too huge for Kafula. But then, coming back to the team, the game, I think the game was tightly contested, but I'll tell you, Tovin, that I think Mighty Mufulira Wanderers had no show, no system. I watched Mufulira Wanderers at Shinde Stadium when they took on Cabo Warriors. I think it was the same. They had no system, and that made them even to draw with Cabo Warriors, and Cabo Warriors would have easily beaten Mufulira Wanderers during that encounter.
Indeed. Let's look at also Power Dynamos versus Zanaco. The game played in in Lusaka. They drew 1-1. How do you look at that game, especially Vamuzo, your team? At least they forced a draw away from home.
You know, it's very disappointing for Power Dynamos. After having played 5 games, they have only managed to get maximum points from 1 game. The rest, they have drawn all these games. It's so disappointing. I wonder what is happening to Oswald Mutapa, because he has settled in. He can't say that I'm not yet settled in. He has settled in. He came in at the end of last season. He has started this season. We expected the Power Dynamos to be firing all cylinders, but that has not happened. For me, I would say that I don't think he's fit for that seat he's occupying at Power Dynamos. If things come to the worst, let them look for a new man to take over from Oswald Mutapa. For me personally, he has failed to steer the team forward. As for Zanaco, they are also in the same category with Power Dynamos. They are failing to perform up to their expected standard. They are failing to live up to their name as the sensational Zanaco, which is long gone for now. Zanaco, any team, even if we were to take Zesco Marite Rangers, I think Zanaco would go down to Zesco Marite Rangers. No, it may be a laughing matter, but this is a serious issue. Zanaco are not the team we used to watch in the days gone by. So these 2 teams, they need to sit down. The management has to sit down, see where they have gone wrong, and change the people who are managing these teams. As for Power again, Linus Makwas has overstayed his reign as the assistant coach. It's too much. How many coaches have come and gone, and he has remained as the assistant coach? Maybe it might be the problem there, which we don't know. We're outsiders. But for me, 3 to 4, 5 coaches have gone, and Linus has remained as the assistant coach. Then there must be a problem somewhere there.
Indeed. Also, we are on the local scene. Let's go also to the English Premier League games that we have played over the weekend. We had Liverpool hammering Bournemouth 3-0. Leicester City 1, Everton 1. We also had Tottenham 3, Brentford 1. We also had Brighton 2 and Nottingham Forest 2. This team is coming up dangerously. We had Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. They drew. And we also had Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. Peter, let's look at the game against Arsenal versus Manchester City. They're both teams chasing for the title race. How do you look at that game?
Tovin, that was a thriller of a game. Of course, it had all the qualities and all the permutations we are pointing to, giving the fans across the world, should I say, an odd class kind of a game. Those games we used to watch when you remember seeing the likes of Patrick Vieira versus the Roy Keanes. You look at the Alan Shearers of this world, the Sol Campbells, you talk about the Obafemi Martins, Bonla Hogabi, you know, those were the days, the Devin Siemens, you talk about the James Lemans, the David James. So it had everything. It was going to be a classic until, of course, the cry of every day, the ref had his say into the game when they shouldn't be the case. You know, look at the red card that went Arsenal's way. And of course, that's been a talk of a day from that time. And everything changed such that in the second half, we didn't have a good game. And of course, Arsenal went down via a counter from Man City. They scored through Haaland. And Arsenal didn't take time to respond. And there we had the game. Before Arsenal could score a second, it was a scintillating match up to the time when the red card was shown, and then we had to break off. Second half was actually one-sided because the other team had 10 players, and those are decisions that you know, ruin games. It had everything bubbling around it to be a classic game, but unfortunately we talk about refereeing decisions, which has actually hampered football across the world. You talk about the introduction of VAR, those stoppages and whatnot. the game is not played naturally the way it should have been or the way it used to be. So the flair has been taken out. We are now like chewing on bones. So yeah, it was a good game, and the two teams shared the spoils.
All right, Merek, Liverpool hammering Bournemouth 3-0, and now they are even on second on the league table. How do you look at that game as well?
Yes, Tobin, it was expected. More especially that Liverpool went down to Nottingham Forest the previous game. So beating, rather they went down to the other game they played, and they managed to redeem themselves by beating Nottingham Forest 3-0. So Liverpool did redeem themselves, and I think Coach Slot did play his cards very well. And for a team like Liverpool to be where they are, they look at the way they started. They started on a sound note, and they are in a better position even to reclaim the league title from Manchester City. We wait and see how it will pan out at the end of it all. But I think Liverpool has done it. The Coach Slot, I think, did play his card very well, and they managed to win the game they played. So for me, I think I was very much expectant with Liverpool, and they did justice by just collecting 3 maximum points in that encounter.
All right, Vamuzo, we saw Manchester United drawing against Crystal Palace, and Manchester United was away at Crystal Palace, and they drew that game 0-0. How do you look at that game? They failed, both teams failing to score.
You know what, Tevin? You are squeezing me. You are giving me very awkward games. Okay, that besides the point. I think you would think that I'm against the coaches, but for me, I'm just trying to be realistic. Eric Ten Hag had asked for money to buy players, and he has acquired the players which he wanted, and yet he has failed to deliver. He went to Crystal Palace. He failed even to nick in one goal, which is very unfortunate for a team of Manchester's magnitude. Manchester, they are big boys. They are supposed to be competing up there with the big boys who are there. Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. And there's the Aston Villa, who seems to be putting the big boys in an awkward position as at now. Last season they were there, and even this season they are not saying, they are saying, no, last year it wasn't a fluke. This season again we're going to be up there. So Manchester United, they are supposed to look at Aston Villa and admire them. Where have we gone wrong? So for Eric Ten Hag, he's got all the material. No one can take it away from him. He's a good coach, but he just has to change the tactics here and there and see how things are going to move.
All right, time is against us, but within a few seconds or few minutes remaining, Peter, just highlight us over the game, the Zambia under-20, they are now competing in the COSAFA Cup in Maputo. Right now they are in Maputo, and today they will be up against Angola. How do you look at that game as well, which will be played today on Friday?
Thank you, Tovin. Of course, when you talk about regional tournaments like COSAFA, and you look at teams like Zambia, this presents an opportunity for us to again regroup. And when you talk about regrouping, we start from the grassroots or the junior teams, because these are the teams for the future. These are the teams for tomorrow. When we talk about the World Cup, the Olympics, and the AFCON, we draw players from here. I was happy to see the likes of the enterprise midfielder, David Smukonda, who's been, of course, selected to be part of the team. Of course, those are the kind of teams we need to be, or should I say, players we need to be nurturing so that they can take over. If you've seen what has been an issue, it's been transitioning from a player group to another. So this presents an opportunity, and of course Angola are not pushovers. Of course they've been a strong team to reckon with in the region when it comes to COSAFA. They've been there, and this is an opportunity, and of course we give kudos to the coach for the team he's selected and wishing them all the best. And it would be nice if we can claim this trophy and bring it home. That shows and guarantees a bright future for Zambian football.
All right, Coach Boyd Muranda has already assembled the team, and today on Friday and afternoon they'll be playing against Angola.
How do you look at that game as well?
Yes, Tobin, I expect under 20 to do well, more especially that I think if you look at that team that Boyd Mlonda did select, there are 4 players that have been poached from the previous under 20 for 2023, those who participated. We are talking of obvious Maliteta did participate and he is also part of the team. We are talking of goalkeeper Eric Makungu, who is also part of the team, and Nesbitt Banda is also part of the team. So if you look at those, they have tested at the huge stage and they'll be able to steer Zambia to ensure that they beat Angola. Yes, Angola is not a pushover, but we expect Zambia, more especially that they are eyeing for the 13th title. You know, Zambia has already lifted 12 times, so if they lift it to be to a 13th time, so we only wish Zambia all the very best.
All right, Vamuzo, your last words again, and especially the boys now, they are hoping to get the title for the 13th time.
I would say good luck to Mlonda and his boys, because I'm sure the boys he has assembled that's the best material we have at that level, at under 20. So as we know it that tournament, Zambia has dominated for some time, so we don't expect the story to come to an end at this particular time. All the best to Boyd Mlonda and good luck to the boys.
Thank you. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of our program, and I've been your host, Tovin Ngombe, and to discuss football, especially what is happening here in the country and also across international games like the English Premier League. I had Melvin Melek to analyze the games, and also I had Musonda Chilambwe and Peter Chanda to analyze the games. And our viewers, see you next time on your program, The Lens, coming right here from Copper Belt Studios. Thank you.